Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to do a pretty, well, it's not a difficult achievement, but it's pretty tedious. This achievement will be, go ahead, Macau my day. And it's tedious because Macau has to be your capital. Well, not your capital, but the collaborationist government that you make in China has to have the capital of Macau. And so if you forget in the beginning to create the collaborationist government before you get other territories in China, it becomes quite a pain later on. But right now, let's get to the general strategy. My plan in this game is to go communist so we can join the Soviet Union, join the Comintern, I mean, to get their aid against the Allies, because there's a reason we need to go toward the Allies. And also I want to be able to take over all of Iberia, because I think it's much easier, or much better, I guess, for like industry and manpower to do the Socialist Union of Iberia path rather than the monarchist one. And let's begin. So what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to raise my conscription to limited conscription, because that's the highest we can get for right now, and we're going to make our government go communist, not with the joining the Spanish Civil War path, we'll do that later, but just with the normal one that gives you some extra bonuses. I'm also going to arm, well, I'm going to change all my divisions. I actually already changed them to just some small cav divisions, because we won't really be able to make a major contribution in the Civil War between the Nationalists and the Republicans. We'll mainly be relying on the Soviets to come in and help, but we will want those cav divisions to just, one, hold the line while we wait for Soviet aid, and also to have them so you can micromanage and take areas that maybe the AI leaves undefended. And micromanaging is really the key to winning the Spanish Civil War, even as like the Nationalists or the Republicans, without it taking a ridiculously long time. So basically our goal is to try and win the Spanish Civil War quickly for the Republican side, and then we'll be able to unite with them via focus. Now we do get our own civil war alongside joining against the Nationalists, and so this war really is just us relying on the Soviets. It is a little dicey in the beginning, because if something just barely went wrong here, I could have lost Lisbon and just had to completely restart. Thankfully, that didn't happen. And also thankfully, the AI is, well, it's not smart. It's smart enough to be able to beat the Nationalists for me. So I'll be doing some micromanaging, but I'd say that the main reason that we win this war is definitely because, I mean, we have the Soviets and they have like 130 divisions or something in the beginning. So here's a little time lapse of that war, and I'll see you after it. of the updates recently, and it's not as easy to naval invade Britain anymore. You need, like, way, way more ships than you used to, and you kind of still need to get lucky. I mean, that is if you're not like the US or something that starts out with one of the strongest navies in the world, but obviously we're Portugal, so we don't start out with much. And that's also the reason why I stole the Spanish Navy, the Nationalist Navy, in the war, in the peace deal with the Nationalists, because we need every ship we can get. And so I train, I think, another extra army of 24 divisions. Actually, I get 48 divisions in total, probably a little bit extra. I'm recording this audio in post, obviously, so I can't remember the exact numbers, but I try first to naval invade from Spain itself, because I think, oh, maybe I'll just get an easy, like, English Channel naval supremacy at the very beginning, but no. Now, here's another reason, though, that I joined the Comintern. Soviets are a little bit more reliable than the Germans are whenever it comes to naval stuff, and so they actually helped me get supremacy to naval invade Britain, and we end up doing the old North Sea trick. But if I was on the Axis side, I definitely don't think I would have the naval power to win, because it kind of seems like a combination of the Allies' AIs are getting smarter, the Axis AIs are getting dumber, so it makes it harder to naval invade as minor countries. But we eventually did it, and, you know, I thought this was the hard part of this whole campaign. I finally got through, like, naval invading Britain, took their navy, because we have to have their navy to be able to naval invade the Japanese. Took their navy, but something I mentioned in the beginning is going to be a huge problem. Good lord, it was horrible. But I've been talking for a little bit. I'll update you after the Japanese War. So, hey, I'm back a little bit early because I forgot to mention something. It takes us a while to be able to, go to war with Japan without the Axis joining, because I guess maybe they changed this, or because maybe if you go, communist as Portugal, this happens. Japan would not declare war on the Axis, even though they got war goals on the Axis, because the Axis owned Indonesia after this peace deal. So I had to wait until the Chinese would let me in the Chinese United Front, and I did something kind of stupid once they let me in. I took over the faction because I was like, oh, this is hilarious. Why are they letting me? Why can I take over the faction? You'd think that I would have a lot less, troops and everything, because you have to have, twice the amount of troops. And I'm realizing my mistake now. I could have just joined the faction, not become the leader, leave after the war, and then take all of China in one war. But, of course, I didn't do that. And they also didn't make Macau into a collaborationist government, with Macau as the capital of China. So, even though the bulwark of the work is about to be done with the defeat of Japan, it's gonna be... It took so long to redraw the borders repeatedly, especially because it was 4 or 5 in the morning, so I was super tired, so it constantly kept making mistakes in what I released and stuff. And yeah, also, well, I guess I shouldn't spoil this. After the Japanese War, I'll talk about some more surprising stuff that happens with the whole thing in China that we have to do. And now, with Japan defeated, I make them into a puppet in the home islands, and I turn my attention to China. Kick China out of their own faction, which is kind of funny, and then quickly invade them. It's a pretty easy war, not much really to say with it because I had already built up some stuff with my spy network. And I think, well, with China defeated, it's pretty much the achievement. And I kind of already realized oh, I messed up with the collaborationist government. I was like, oh, I'll just have to redraw the borders a little bit. But that's not all. Of course it's not all. I seem to get... More recently, I feel like I've been getting horrible luck in Hearts of Iron 4. The Mexicans decide that they're going to basically be the new allies, I guess. They start guaranteeing, every nation I justify on in China. Which is why it would have been so much easier if I literally just left the faction after the war instead of taking leadership. But kind of too late to do anything about that. And so Mexico joins the war, and I'm like, they're not in a faction, so it's not a big deal. Guess who's still alive? Somehow, because, of course, in the new peace deals, Germany doesn't full annex them. The British. So the Allies are still around. And good lord, I was so enraged whenever I saw that the British guaranteed, I think it was Shaanxi or something. It's like, oh no, I have to actually naval invade Mexico with submarines and 1936 light cruisers. And yeah, it just turned into a huge mess, man. And I do eventually, finish them off, but this achievement was horrible. I'm gonna have a little bit of a montage of all of this happening. It might already be playing on screen right now. Just to kind of show what happened, I guess. But not to take up a huge amount of time, because I don't want this to be an hour-long video with half of it being me correcting a really simple mistake. So yeah, see you after that montage is done. And now, with all these borders redrawn, all the Chinese nations conquered, Mexico defeated, the British defeated, I can finally just release China one last time and give all of their land to my collaborationist government in Macau to get the achievement. Honestly, if this achievement wasn't so technical in what it required, it really would not take that long for me to do. But good God, if you make that mistake of not having the collaborationist government in Macau before you take any territories in China, it's gonna cost you so much time. Like, I think, looking at it right now, ended the campaign in like 1952. Like, that's usually how long it takes me to do something like a Nepal world conquest. Not that I've ever done that, but like I've done like Algeria, like that. So it's just kind of, it's like this took the same amount of time as like a world conquest as a tiny nation, and it was just taking over China because I made like one mistake. I took over China like 3 times probably. So with that though, I finally get the achievement. Go ahead, Macau my day. And I don't know how much this video might help if you're like trying to use this to get the achievement yourself, but I do hope that maybe you can learn from my mistakes if you're trying to do this achievement. But anyways, I'm all out of time. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, which will probably be a tutorial because I haven't done one in a bit, it feels like. Peace.